There's no amount of knowledge or having the perfect answer that will ever be more powerful than the ability to show people that you know how to lead, that you're able to show up big and move things forward, even when you get asked a tough question. And I'm not saying that it's bad to have the answer or that you don't want to ever have the answer. What I'm saying is that you can impress people whether you have the answer or not. Welcome to The Art of Speaking Up, a podcast that helps professional women access the limitless potential that lies within them. I'm your host, Jessica Guzik, and my mission is to help you find that spark inside you that has the power to transform your career in ways you may not have thought possible. I'm so excited that you're here. And now, on to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Today's episode is a deep dive into how to powerfully and confidently answer a question that you get asked at work, even if you don't know the answer. When I think about the top fears that my clients share with me when I'm working with them, being asked a question that they don't have an answer to is definitely one of the top 5. And one thing that I've noticed is when you feel afraid of getting asked a tough question, typically what happens is you will default to over-preparing and really trying to make sure that you are ready for any possible question that gets thrown at you. The challenge with this is it can lead to burnout because you have to spend so much time preparing, and no matter how much you prepare, it really isn't possible to anticipate every possible question that you can get asked. That is why I wanted to record today's episode, because I want to help you get rid of the fear of getting asked a question that you don't know the answer to. Instead of you leaning on over-preparing to try to skirt around that fear, I just want to help you get rid of the fear so that you are no longer stressed and anxious about getting asked hard questions. So what I'm going to be doing today is, number one, I'm going to share some really powerful lessons on leadership that are going to change the way that you think about getting asked tough questions and make you feel far less afraid of being put on the spot and getting asked something that you don't have an answer to. And number two, I'm going to teach you exactly how great leaders respond when they get asked a question that they don't have the answer to. So I want to start by sharing some lessons with you to help you either eliminate the fear or at least shrink that fear of getting asked a tough question. And what I want to offer is that I don't think the fear is really about getting asked a question that you don't know the answer to. I think the real fear is a fear of looking bad in front of other people. It's the fear of appearing incompetent in a high-stakes environment. It's not really about the hard question. It's about how you look and what other people are thinking of you. Now, the reason that I'm pointing this out is because you might be assuming that people will think negatively of you if you get asked a question that you don't have an immediate answer to, but this isn't necessarily true. Having the answer isn't what makes you look good in a room, and that is the first lesson that I want to dive into. And the absolute best way for me to teach you this lesson is through an analogy. So the analogy that I'm going to use in today's episode is based on a cooking show called Chopped. If you've ever watched Chopped, you know how it works, but if you haven't watched the show, it's a really fun, light, competitive cooking show where 3 chefs come on the show and they're given a basket of cooking ingredients that they have to use to cook a dish. And what makes the show interesting and fun is that the ingredients that they're given in the basket are either ingredients that are not at all gourmet. So there could be things in the basket like hot dogs or sliced white bread, or they're given ingredients that don't feel like they go together. So their basket will have something like maple syrup and avocado, and they are forced to figure out a way to combine those ingredients into a cohesive dish. Now, something that is so fun about watching this show is you see these chefs open the basket and you see these ingredients that don't go together, and you think to yourself, oh, maple syrup and avocado, what are they going to do with that? And then a few minutes later, they've made this incredible entree and they're presenting the judges with a maple glazed salmon that has an avocado mousse on the side. And you're looking at it thinking, wow, that looks and sounds so good. Even though 5 minutes ago, I saw those basket ingredients and thought that they didn't go well at all and that they sounded gross together. And now I see what the chef prepared using those ingredients and it looks delicious. And when we see this, we are super impressed by the chef because we watched them take something that we thought didn't go together, that kind of grossed us out when we first saw it in the basket, and now it looks delicious. And it's the fact that they took those non-ideal ingredients and made them into something really good that has us feeling very impressed by that chef. And one of the lessons that I take away from this show and that I really want to hammer home in today's episode is that one of the ways that humans impress other humans is through their ability to respond to non-ideal circumstances. And this brings us back to the original topic of today's episode, getting asked a question that you don't know the answer to. When this happens, you are facing a non-ideal circumstance. And just like in the show Chopped, non-ideal circumstances are how you show people just how good you are. So when you get asked a question that you don't know the answer to, instead of thinking, oh no, I don't have the answer, this is going to make me look bad, I want you to think, oh, non-ideal circumstances. This is my opportunity to show everyone around me just how skilled I am at navigating this. It reminds me of the moment in the show Chopped where you watch the chefs open up their basket to look at the ingredients, and you can tell how confident they are in their own skills as a chef based on how they respond to seeing what is inside the basket. There are some chefs that look panicked and stressed and anxious, and then there are other chefs who have like a smirk on their face, like a smile on their face, because they're looking at these ingredients and thinking like, I'm good enough to figure this out. I don't want you to be like the chef who is nervous that they're not going to figure it out. I want you to be like the chef who is smirking and who is thinking, oh, this is going to be my opportunity to show people how good I am. Now, you might be thinking, Jess, how am I supposed to show people how good I am if I don't have the answer to someone's question? And my answer to that is what is going to impress people in that situation is not you having the answer, it's you being a leader. Being a good leader isn't about having all of the answers. The definition of a good leader is someone who can confidently lead other people towards results. So when you get asked a tough question, your value as a leader does not come from having the answer in the moment. Your value comes from confidently leading that stakeholder towards the results that they're looking for. I want to teach you how to do this and how to show everyone in the room that you can move that stakeholder towards results, whether or not you have an immediate answer. And the way that you're going to do this is through one of my frameworks. I like to call this the 3P framework. The 3P framework is a framework that you are going to use whenever you get asked a question that you don't have the answer to. This framework is going to help you look impressive and really stand out as a leader, even though you aren't actually going to deliver the answer. So the 3 P's in this framework stand for praise, probe, promise. And these are the 3 steps that you want to take as soon as you get asked a question that you don't know the answer to. So the first part of the framework is praise. This is where you praise or validate the question. So you'll respond by saying something like, great question, or, oh, I can see how that would be super useful, or, oh, that's a very interesting question. When you do this, it loosens any tension that might be forming in the room. It helps you feel less tense. It demonstrates a ton of confidence, and it helps you build some initial rapport with the person who is asking the question. After praise, you move on to the second P, which is probe. Probe means you ask probing questions to deepen your understanding of that stakeholder's question. So you might say something like, I'd love to hear more of your thought process, or can you share more about what would be most useful for you to uncover? So the spirit of these probing questions is for you to understand the stakeholder's question even more deeply. When you do this, what you're communicating to the stakeholder is that you value their question, and it's so important to you that you want to make sure that you truly understand it. This signals to them that you care, that you're invested, that you want to help them out, and it helps them trust you and trust that you have their back and you're going to get them what it is they need. The final P stands for promise. The third and final thing you will do is you will promise a clear next step. So you'll say something like, I'll have my team compile that and send it to you this afternoon. Or I will put that together for you and circle back right after this meeting. This demonstrates initiative, it demonstrates really strong leadership, and because you've done the praise and the probe, the stakeholder already knows that you care about their question and you value helping them with whatever it is they want help with. So when you get into the final P, promise, they're not going to be worried and they're not going to be thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe she doesn't have the information that I asked for right in this very moment. They're going to be thinking, wow, she really listened to me. She really heard and understood my question. I'm really looking forward to seeing what she sends over to me this afternoon. So to recap the 3P framework, number 1, praise the question, express why you think it's an interesting or valuable question. Number 2, probe, ask 1 or 2 probing questions to make sure you truly understand what it is the stakeholder is looking for. And number 3, promise, make a promise to the stakeholder about your next step and about how you will deliver the answer to their question. Now, I want to stop for a moment and talk about why this is so impressive to people, because we so often think that the way that we impress people is by having the answer and having the knowledge. But when we navigate a tough question using this framework, you are pivoting from impressing people through your knowledge to impressing people through your leadership. When you handle a question in this way, you are demonstrating a slew of leadership traits that show people how capable and competent you are. Number 1, you are showing people that you don't crumble under pressure. So you're demonstrating the traits of resilience and calm. Number 2, you're showing everyone in the room that you don't get defensive. So you're demonstrating confidence and a sense of self-assuredness. Number 3, you are showing everyone that you know how to have a back and forth exchange with a stakeholder, even when they ask a hard question. This demonstrates maturity and really strong interpersonal skills. Number 4, you are showing everyone in the room that you are sophisticated enough to make sure you truly understand the relevance of the question. This demonstrates really sharp business acumen and a more strategic way of thinking. And finally, you're showing everyone that you are someone who takes the lead in getting to an outcome. So you are demonstrating the traits of initiative and agility and a bias to taking action. And all of these traits that I mentioned, resilience, a sense of calm, confidence, self-assuredness, maturity, interpersonal skills, business acumen, strategic thinking, initiative, agility, bias to action. These traits are way more impressive than you having the answer. And that is the biggest takeaway that I want you to take from today's episode. There's no amount of knowledge or having the perfect answer that will ever be more powerful than the ability to show people that you know how to lead, that you're able to show up big and move things forward, even when you get asked a tough question. When people see you doing that, they realize that you're the type of person that can handle big things, that can take on more, and it's going to help you stand out so much. When people get promoted in a corporate setting, it's not because everyone was talking about how they always have the answer. You're not going to hear executives saying, oh, she's ready for this big promotion because every time I ask a question, she has the answer right there on the spot. No. They're going to be saying she's ready for this big promotion because of the leadership that she is demonstrating, because of the way she interacts with stakeholders, because of the way that she leads us through challenging situations. And I'm not saying that it's bad to have the answer or that you don't want to ever have the answer. What I'm saying is that you can impress people whether you have the answer or not. You can impress them through your knowledge when you do have the answer, or you can impress them through your leadership when you don't have the answer. But I will tell you from what I have seen in my own corporate career, as well as all of the time that I've spent coaching my clients, the moments where people see our true leadership and they see how we navigate some of these tricky situations, those moments tend to be remembered more deeply. People don't tend to remember the moment where you had the perfect answer on the spot. So maybe you remember that because it felt really good to you and you felt really proud and happy that you had the answer. But what other people remember are the moments where someone asked you a tough question and they thought to themselves, oh my gosh, is this going to get awkward? What's going to happen? Does she have the answer to this question? And you responded with so much grace and confidence and agility that they thought to themselves, oh, this isn't awkward at all. She totally has this handled. Those are the moments that are going to help you stand out and build a powerful reputation that helps you get promoted. So I want you to remember, number one, not having the answer is never a problem. Your goal isn't to show people that you always have the answer and that you're an encyclopedia. The goal is to show people that you are a leader who will get that stakeholder to the result that they are looking for. And number two, when you get asked a hard question, use the 3P framework, praise, probe, promise, to effectively field the question and show everyone in the room the depth of your leadership. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. And if you want to work with me to learn how to speak and act like a leader in the room, this is the work that I guide you through inside my signature program, the Art of Speaking Up Academy. The Art of Speaking Up Academy is my signature program where I help you with two important things. Number one, building confidence, and number two, learning to speak in a way that is powerful, polished, and that positions you as a leader. In this program, you do the inner work to build that self-confidence, and you learn and practice the foundations of executive communication. And one of those foundations is learning how to show up powerfully and gracefully when you get asked a hard question or when someone is pushing back or when there's disagreement in the room. I know these situations can feel stressful, but they're actually really valuable opportunities to put your leadership skills on display. And that is what I teach you to do inside the Art of Speaking Up Academy. I have 2 cohorts kicking off this fall, and there may still be some space available in those cohorts. To find out if there is space, add yourself to the waitlist by clicking the link in the show notes or going to jessguzikcoaching.com/academy. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. This was so much fun to record, and I will catch you next week. Have an amazing day. Bye.